Welcome.
We're back.
We are back.
2 months off.
Yeah, just a little holiday. I mean, it's that, what do Hamish and Andy call it? The government mandated break from podcasting. So
That's it. You need it.
it was forced upon us. There was nothing we could do. We fought it.
We're
We
both
protested.
Very busy.
Yeah.
We did.
No, but in all seriousness, very busy. I think we messaged each other almost every day trying to tee something up, and nothing worked out.
Yeah.
At all.
Early mornings and late nights. It seems to be the common theme.
Yeah,
In your 20s,
yeah.
30s, 40s. Any adult.
Any adult, we need to try and line up our days off a little bit better.
I think we do, but with sport finding an end, I think we'll have a few more.
A few more open nights. Yeah, for sure.
But there will be no sport talk in this one. It will be a bit more, I guess, serious and more bigger opinions.
Bit more serious. Fair bit going on in America recently.
And all three topics are pointed towards America.
And everyone would have seen it, and everyone would have seen posts about it, and people on Instagram or X, Facebook. It was everywhere, all of it.
I reckon that they're all major, but I think our second topic will be the biggest one, because we're starting with the subway murder of... How do you pronounce her name again?
Irina Zarutska.
Irina Zarutska. My apologies. I'm not the best at foreign names, let alone English. And then we'll move on to, obviously, the sad passing and murder of Charlie Kirk.
Yep.
And then after that, we'll, if we've got time, talk about the school shooting in Evergreen High School.
Another one. So, basically, they kind of tie into each other, I suppose, in relation to some of the stuff that even Charlie had spoken about in relation to gun laws, that people like to use as like a bad karma for him getting assassinated, which I find crazy, because that's not what he meant at all by having your amendment right to own a gun, but then goes into another school shooting which had just happened, I think, only a day or two prior, if I'm not mistaken.
This is pretty much within 3 weeks.
2 weeks,
of it.
yep, 3 weeks.
3 weeks, all these events in the same country. Which
Absolutely crazy.
are
So
not
the reason we
well,
want to start off with Irina first is Charlie was also talking about that on X, and trying to sort of talk about the racial divide that's still happening in America, probably worse now than maybe it's ever been, maybe.
definitely.
And was it a racist killing? And funnily enough, I mean, like you've got written down in your notes, she happened to be an immigrant, which is another problem that America are facing as well. So it all ties into one.
Yeah, her and her family moved in 2022 from Ukraine to escape the war, pretty much. So a better life. She wasn't one of these, I shouldn't say one of these, but these immigrants that come and disrespect the country they're in. They were welcomed, went to a safer place, which I believe is Charlotte, North Carolina, which I think really has a good name to itself. And one sad evening, this event happens. Which, well,
Ridiculous.
it's racist. It's a racist attack, in my opinion. I'm not going to cry from it.
So let's take a step back. So what's actually happened? So will we still explain it for those that hadn't seen it, hadn't heard of it? So
on August 22, I keep forgetting her name again. I've got it written
Irina
in front of me.
Zarutska.
Irina Zarutska jumped on a train in, I think, what was it called? A slow train or late train? Soft...
A light rail system.
A light rail system, that was it, in Charlotte, North Carolina, where she just walked in casually, found a seat like we all do, sat down, and then within 4 or 5 minutes, DeCarlos Brown, who was sitting behind her, randomly just pulled out a pocket knife from his jumper, got up, I believe he stabbed her twice in the chest and once in the neck.
Yeah, it looks
As he
like upper
stood up,
collarbone towards the neck. Yeah.
as he stood up, he yelled out, "I got that white girl! I got that white girl!" And I think for a few more minutes he was on the train. Really, no one did anything. They stood there. As the doors open, he'd left. She kind of sits there in panic and dies within a minute. And then, pretty much, as he's on the platform, he gets arrested pretty much straight away. But
Yep.
that is pretty much the rough inside of what happened. But yeah, there's a lot of factors and changes that I think America needs to look into, or even just globally, just for people's safety.
Well,
Um,
what I find with all of this is, did you hear about what had happened with Daniel Penny?
no, I haven't.
So Daniel Penny in 2023, there was a homeless man on a New York train who was basically harassing people, had been arrested many times in and out of prison, harassing people on a train, threatening to kill people. And Daniel Penny jumped in and basically subdued him and tried to... he basically put him in a headlock, and then the guy ended up dying. And so there was this big thing about, should Daniel go to prison, or was he just offending all the people on the train? And so many people wanted him to go to prison because, again, a white guy killed a black guy.
Yeah, that old chestnut.
So then you get the flip side of that, where this has happened and no one tried to help on the train. No one tried to jump in and save it. The people actually in the other cart sort of turn and look away, and they don't want a bar of it. Like, I think...
It's
absolutely
almost
crazy.
like, I know, watching it, I've watched it, you've watched it, seeing, like, let's say, fights or stuff break out in public, I do understand I'm not getting involved, like that
Yep.
side of it, like,
Yep.
alright, I'll stay back.
Yep.
Yes, he did attack a woman, but I don't know if they saw it in the video. I don't see the knife.
Yeah, so you very briefly see him flick it, but in real time with the video, it just looks like he's punched her because the blade is so small.
I'm not saying it's right. Like, obviously, if a man hits a woman, you stand up, you make, like, oh, what are you doing, blah, blah, blah. What I'm saying is, where someone says, oh, they didn't help her, she does die within a minute after what he just did. Like, it does look like he just punches her 3 times.
And if you've seen the video, it's quite disturbing. She is in so much shock by the looks of it. She doesn't actually realise she's been stabbed until after she's, like, looking down, and I think she notices it, and she just cries in her arms, and then her hands come down and she sort of passes out. Like, it just happened so quickly that I don't even think she realised what had actually happened, which is just unbelievably sad.
Even where I've got down here, was this attack preventable? Maybe in the fact that he, yes, has former charges, he should have been locked up years ago.
Well, there's two parts of it.
Yeah, in that moment, there's no way, with security or without security, it is preventable, because it's a random attack.
It was completely random. Completely random. She just walks onto the train, he's already sitting there. The only part that's completely preventable is, I absolutely think that he probably should have been locked up, but the problem then that also America having at the moment is they're trying to give people lighter sentences or just slaps on the wrist because of how full their jails are, which is absolutely crazy. But yeah, look, there's a whole other side of it, of a judge that had let him out early from a previous crime that was quite horrific as well. So what then this had tried to bring on, I suppose, is then people were thinking, do we need harsher penalties on judges that let these criminals out? Because at the minute there's no penalties if they recommit crime or do anything like that, where you think about it, if you're a surgeon, and even though they sign the contract and the waivers, people still try and sue hospitals and surgeons if someone dies in surgery. Obviously, a doctor, if he makes the wrong call and someone loses a leg, then they can get sued. So why shouldn't judges get criticised?
Accountable.
Mm.
But that's another quick thing was he was fair jumping as well, so he snuck onto the train. So does that mean there needs to be also, sorry for changing your topic.
No, you're fine.
But like this is what I wrote down. So I wrote down since 9/11, airport security, boom, through the roof. We stand there, arms out, boom, boom, boom. Is it time where, because this isn't the first time there's been attacks on a train.
The amount of stuff that happens on train stations in America is ridiculous.
Should train stations have like a security lift in the fact there needs to be more of a check?
Absolutely.
Not as serious as a flight where you're in the air, and it's more serious, meaning they've got screenings and everything. Maybe some important places have x-rays like you put your bags through.
Yep.
But just the general screening so they know you don't have guns or knives.
And I suppose people over there can have your concealed carry licenses and stuff. So as long as that's allowed in specific states, I suppose, a little bit different from here. But they should absolutely not be sort of carrying knives, I suppose, as weird as that sounds, that they could carry a gun over a knife. But the amount of stabbings that happen on train stations and people getting pushed onto train carts and all sorts, like there just needs to be a lot more security in those areas because too much happens there.
Obviously there's going to be train stops where you're in the slums. It's nothing pretty. So obviously, yes, you can't have so much serious stuff when someone's playing $2 or $5 or a homeless man's just possibly sneaking on just to get to one spot. Like, I know it's going to be stupid to have each spot with high-end security, but it's almost gotten to the point where you might have to start looking into it.
So I think there has been talk of, like, the Charlotte Mayor instantly said they're going to increase security on their train stations. Interesting to see what that actually looks like. See if they take the lead in how far do you go with the security side of it, I suppose, with the proper screenings, and do they get waved down? Do you put your bag through to see the contents of your bag? Like, going to be very interesting. I mean, I suppose the people will just say, I've got to get to work, I don't have time to do this or this or this, but what depends on your safety. Yeah, exactly.
But also, there was an officer on the train. He just was in the other car. That's like,
which I did hear about.
It's like, it is just a hit or miss. Like, how do you prevent something like this? Like, I know Trump's come out and he's said he's going to do the death penalty. But, yeah, like, does that change a thing? Like, yeah, he's got the death penalty, but what's the next step to this?
Yeah.
Because everyone's bringing in all this race and all this. I think it is a racist attack for if he's yelling out, "I got that white girl."
I think that probably confirmed it. I mean, it just seems like a sick individual has committed a random crime, but as soon as he said that, it probably changed my opinion a little bit.
Yeah, it's definitely a hate attack, and it's just unfortunate that this is a refugee that's come for the great country of America for what they say it is, and she's dead at 23.
Yeah, and then her parents wanting her to be buried there as well because she loved the country, which is just crazy. And she actually, there was photos online of her room that had stated that she had posters up that said Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
So obviously loved the country, and then had that unfortunately happen to her. Very, very unfortunate. But it kind of does lead into then what had happened with Charlie Kirk, as he was sort of posting quite a bit on his ex during this period as well about that death. And then, shortly after, obviously, had one of his, what do you even call it, events, I suppose, in Utah.
Yeah,
And
it's one of his debates, which I think it's one of the best things for college students, really.
Yep.
It's for, I don't know, I wouldn't say our age, but anyone has the right to step up and have a, friendly debate and conversation. If you're wrong, you're wrong, you're right, you're right. I used to love watching them, even there were times where I was pretty hard against it, like, I don't reckon he's right on this one. But
there was plenty of stuff that, I mean, he's obviously a devout Christian, so a lot of his stuff was heavily due to the Bible, so completely within his right to sort of have those beliefs. But there was plenty of stuff that I didn't agree with, but I always found, I was talking to Dusty, a friend of mine, about him compared to like other debaters that used to do this sort of content.
yeah,
And I just felt that they would get to, no, you're wrong, and try and almost convince the people to agree with them during their debates, where with Charlie, it felt like he would just sort of listen and go back and forth. I think that's probably why I liked him. Like, I didn't know, like I said, didn't think that all his views were spot on. Few were outlandish for sure, but he actually listened, at least.
Yeah, and he was a confident, well-spoken, intelligent person, which makes it more good. Like, you want to listen to someone like that if they're wrong or right, because they've got the things that back it up. Which is
exactly right.
good. Should we, obviously most people I know, bring up what happened?
Yep, so same sort of thing as what we did with Irena. So this one was only a couple of days ago. Was it the 10th of September? No. It was the 8th, I think.
Thursday for us, so Wednesday for them.
Wednesday for them. We're Sunday the 14th now. So Thursday is 11th. The 11th of September for us, so the 10th of September in America.
Yeah,
So goes to his event in Utah, handing out hats, has a Freedom
Utah
top
Valley
on.
University.
Yep.
But yes, firstly, he's a conservative political activist, for the people that don't know. For Americans, he was a very strong Trump supporter.
Definitely leans to the right politically, which sort of ties into all of this.
Trying to make America great again. He had great connections. Like you said, he was at one of his talks where he was handing out hats. It was just a good day. The vibe was good. Everyone was pretty excited.
So many people cheering. There were some really good
Thousands.
videos that they'd posted on the Instagram and on X. And then from about, what they're saying, 200 yards away.
Yeah, 200 to 400 yards, feet, whatever they measure their distance in. Mid-talk, talking to someone about actually shootings, about gun laws, and I believe just before he got shot, he was talking about how most shooters are transgenders, which I'll get into a bit after this. And then he says something on the lines of gang violence, and as he finishes that word, boom,
Bang.
instantly dead. Like, you can see he gets that thing where
His hands curl up.
Retract.
Yep. What was... Now,
How did
none
you
of
find
the news?
Yeah.
I actually woke up and Rach told me. She'd been up for 10 minutes. Her alarm goes off a little bit before mine, and she goes up, Charlie Kirk's been assassinated. He got shot in the neck at an event. And I was like, literally in shock. Not that she knew that I sort of had seen plenty of Charlie Kirk's content or anything like that, but have you seen that TikTok trend where people were saying like random names to try and trick their parents or friends into someone's death?
Yeah.
I thought it was that, and I was just like no, you're joking. She's like, no, I'm being dead serious. I'm like, what the fuck? Rolled over, jumped on X, and like literally half an hour earlier is when they had announced he'd died. Like, it had happened that quickly. So it was a very bizarre day, and then I think I got to work a little bit late because I was just scrolling so much, just looking for what had happened, why, what's been said. What looked really interesting is because he was wearing body armor. If you slow it down, it kind of looks like it hits the body armor, and you see him flinch down because it eats it, and then it bounces off the armor and goes into his neck.
Was he wearing armor?
He wears body armor because he gets threatened that he'd get killed and shot all the time, like it was happening a fair bit. And I don't know, this hasn't been confirmed, but it does look like in the video it hits the top of the body armor and flicks up and hits him in the neck. So it just flat out looks like it had just erupted that aorta.
Yeah,
that main artery in his neck, and it's just there's no way. Apparently, he still had a heartbeat in the hospital, but I'd highly doubt that.
No, he was gone. Had to be gone
Instantly.
The way I found out was bloody. So I listened to a podcast called Lights Out, which is they talk about serial killers, ghosts, or cryptics, all that type of just the dark stuff of the world. And I was listening to an episode about Fred and Rosie West, those sick fucks in England. They've got a doco on Netflix if you're keen on it, but they are twisted. But I was listening to that, and I hadn't checked my phone all that morning because it was a bit busy, and I think it was around 7:30 or something like that.
When you'd seen it?
Yeah, but the way I saw it was, so my volume was all the way down, and I went on Instagram, and someone, it just must have been like how those random pages sometimes get posted.
Yep.
And it was of a girl talking, and then it cuts out to his assassination proper video. So I just saw this girl talk, and then she moves, and it's just a bit blurry, and I see this dude collapse, and I watched it over, and I was like, what the... I was like,
that looks familiar.
And I scrolled down, and then that's when it was like, rest in peace, Charlie Kirk. It's like, hang on a second. Went back, and it's like, holy... And instantly got the most sickening feeling.
It was weird. I don't know why that feeling came over me.
Yeah, I didn't listen to my podcast because it was already a bit twisted, but I was like, I reckon, yeah, like you said it before you turned on the potty, the next 2-3 days just felt... TikTok was off for me. All socials just felt odd. It just felt... Yeah, like...
There's just been a complete shift. So I felt like left sort of allowed... I don't know if they're even a minority more. That obviously a lot of people lean to the left, but then the right side of politics, I suppose, especially on Twitter and social media, stays a little bit more quiet. But with this, it's sort of just gone bang. And so my whole Twitter, like my Twitter is usually NFL, NBA, footy, and a little bit of politics, tiny bit.
Yeah.
It is now, I don't see any sport for the past few days. And it's just all talking about this like massive shift where so many people are like the right side for comments people made on Charlie's death. They're like getting people fired, getting people removed from their jobs, doxing them as far as where they live and what their business is, and trying to like basically ruin these people's lives because of sort of what they'd mention. More news coming in about the assassination, and his wife did a live stream, and I've been seeing clips on that, and like it's just filled up since I can't get away from it, essentially.
To me, this is probably the story of the year, in the fact the impact, because there's a lot of older people I do know that know of him, but there's a lot of people at work, when I brought it up, they're like, who is he? Like, they don't really know. And I'm thinking, like, worldwide, for, I reckon, teenagers to probably mid-30s, I reckon we were more drawn to him.
Yeah.
From the way he was like more, those teenagers, like mid-30s, were so drawn to him just because he spoke up, like, yes, like we said, we didn't agree with everything, but I think we had the view of, like, this dude's got the balls, he's speaking up. Because there was a lot of things he was saying that all these Fruity Pebbles are doing that are just ridiculous, that we all like, finally someone's got the balls, he's got the platform, he's speaking up for the voiceless pretty much, even though, yes, he had different opinions on, like, let's say, the guns and all that. He was, I think, we drew to him, I reckon.
Yeah, I think sort of all that I really resonated with him was obviously has super strong family values, and just wanted everyone to voice their opinion. He may not agree with you and we may not agree with him, but like, just you should be able to talk to whoever about whatever and not let it get too emotional, but actually have a civil conversation. What makes you think that? What makes me think this? And then meet in the middle and just agree to disagree. I think that's sort of what I resonated the most with.
He's just a respectful Christian man, because he'd be like, are you wanting God? And they'd say no. He'd be like, well, I'm sorry that you haven't found God, or they've led you to this way, but I hope you find him one day. Like, he was just respectful in that way. He wasn't pushing God.
What I noticed with a few clips that I've seen recently as well is he only seemed to respond with the energy that he got given, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So if they came off aggressive,
like a prick,
yeah,
that's when he would switch on.
Yeah, but if you were, there was one I think it was a girl who was trying to transition into a guy, but she came up and was instantly respectful, and then so was he the whole time. He goes, look, he goes, I don't care what you wear or how you act or what you do or anything like that. I just don't think you need to be pumping drugs into your body. That's going to affect who you are. I think, like, just had that conversation because she was respectful, but then other people of that community that come off aggressive, then it's a whole different conversation, isn't it?
Yeah, but that's a good segue, speaking about that transition. So the killer they found him, which I thought was never going to happen. I thought this, when it first happened, in my head, I was like, oh, this has to be a setup, because in my head it just looked like a clean hit. How was a local lad just supposed to, just a nobody, supposed to kill this man? But then obviously with TikTok, watching feeds of snipers, there was some that were saying yes, but there was this one dude I listened to, which was probably the best. He was explaining how from that distance, if you're a sniper, you're not going for the neck. You're going to take out his heart, or you're going to take him clean in the head. You would not be aiming for the neck whatsoever.
No. Which is why, sorry to cut you off, but why I think it's hit the body armour and flicked up, because he's gone for the heart. And it's just sort of that flinch has then caused it to... Anyway, but continue.
And he said at the 200, 400 feet as a sniper, that's fuck all. You're pretty much looking at him. You can pick what nostril you want to hit him at. That's how close he was. It was a professional sniper. Another point he brought up was there was footage of him running around the roof. As a sniper, they hide. They're not going to be in the open. He said he would have hidden the shade, so when they would have looked up, you wouldn't have seen him, and then he would have had a better escape route than just running down and jumping off the roof. So that's where I was like, all right, this is... And then they obviously found the rifle, which was, I think, a 30-06 or something, which I don't know too much about. But the main thing was about this Tyler Robinson lad, which I found out this morning, which blew my mind, was he was dating a transgender.
So apparently he was originally from a very conservative family who, basically the whole family was leaning on the right, and he had basically changed his views and gotten out of that family and gone completely to the left, and then was gay and dating a man that was then trying to transition into a woman, is how I read all of that. So it looks like, I can't think of the word, it escapes me right now, but basically he was standing up for the people that think they're kind of oppressed, and didn't like Charlie Kirk for his opinions on trans and everything, obviously being someone that was a child of God essentially, and very heavily Christian.
But the fact he was also, before he got shot, said, yes, transgenders are usually the shooters.
Well, lately, unfortunately, there has been a lot of mass shootings that have gone on recently in churches, in schools, and the killers have been transgenders, which sort of does tie into a lot of them are mentally ill.
Our last topic too, but could I just interest you with some facts about this assassination? Obviously, there's probably been a lot more that we probably have missed, but this isn't the first time this has obviously happened. So, in the history of presidents, there has actually been 4 presidents that have actually been assassinated. First one, obviously, being probably one of the top ones and being famous, is Abraham Lincoln in 1881. Then you go to William McKinley in 1901. I missed one. James A. Garfield in 1881, and then it went William McKinley in 1901. And then the next one was John F. Kennedy, which was probably, you could almost say, the most famous one in 1963. But they're just standing presidents that have actually been killed. And then if you're talking about 2 sitting presidents that have been wounded, so then you got Ronald Reagan in 1981, and then you got Donald Trump in 2024.
Yep.
2 years that got injured. But then you go to the Charlie Kirk situation, where he was an activist. You've got in 1965, you had Malcolm X, which was a human rights activist, was assassinated. And then you go 3 years later to 1963, where Martin Luther King was an American civil rights activist who was also assassinated. So this is a pretty common thing in this country.
Yep. Anyone that sort of... Now, the way I see that, weren't a lot of them trying to bring more together? So wasn't Martin Luther King trying to bridge the gap between white and black?
Yeah, that was pretty much it. He was all for civil rights, trying to get everything together. And you could almost put Malcolm X as well. He was a human rights. They were just trying to break that border between the whites and the blacks. Malcolm X was also a Muslim man as well.
Yep.
So he was also trying to push that to try and make it one whole big happy family.
And I think that was the thing that tied into Charlie. He wanted the gap from the right and the left to sort of close and be like, no, we need to be able to have these conversations and discussions. And it just seems that every time there's a political figure or an activist that's trying to bridge the gap, they end up being assassinated or taken out, which then causes further divide again. Just plays exactly into whoever's pulling the strings, like their grand sort of plans to cause that divide. And it seems like this is one of the biggest divides I've ever seen in my lifetime, probably apart from when Trump got elected the president first time around in 2016. But just a huge divide at the moment.
It's almost like talking about divides. A lot of people are trying to compare this for some reason to the George Floyd death. Like, why is this getting more coverage? Which
unbelievable to me.
Which really puzzled me, because firstly, since Charlie's died, all you're seeing is people putting their arms, they're praying.
Yep.
Yeah, if you're Christian or religious or not, they're broken, they just want peace, they want to pray for his family, his kids. Let's not forget, when George Floyd passed away, the community of
Black Lives Matter,
all these Black Lives Matter supporters started riots. They started breaking into places. They started destroying local stores, lighting cars on fire. They started all these riots, and then for some reason celebrities started posting black pictures on their Instagram. There were all this support.
There was a gold casket. There was all sorts. Yeah. I think he got a statue made.
You got statues. There's paintings of him. I'm not saying his death. Firstly, his death was wrong. Yes, it was. His death was police brutality because he had a knee shoved in his neck. Yes, that shouldn't happen. But for the people that think, oh, I'm wrong, let me just educate you quickly. So, George Floyd started in 1997. He was caught with cocaine, and he spent a short sentence there. So, he's been to jail there. 98, he got caught for theft with a firearm. Yep, he got caught again. He got sent to 10 months in prison, or jail, whatever you want to call it. So that's 2 times. 2002, drug possession. 2004, drug possession. 2005, drug possession. All of those was for cocaine, and he got sent to 8 to 10 months in each one of those. So what have we got? That's 5. And then you got 6. You got aggravated robbery with a deadly weapon and a home invasion, where he got sent to 5 years and got the plea deal in 2013. So he got 5 years in prison. And then he had small other things where he ended up, small things like didn't show his identity, trespassing, theft, small charges, got sent to jail for a little bit. And then, yes, his arrest, which was in 2020, was because he had a counterfeit $20 note. The reason why I'm bringing all this up is, why does he have to get celebrated when I just read you a good minute and a half of convictions, prison time, when he's not to get me wrong, when he got arrested and obviously passed away, this had nothing to do with his arrest, but he had fentanyl and meth in his system.
Well, what had happened when they had the counterfeit $20 as well is they realised that he had a large amount of fentanyl and I think more cocaine on him, and he decided to ingest it all while being arrested, and by the looks of the report, he'd actually overdosed and died prior to the knee asphyxiation, which it probably didn't help, obviously, having a knee pressed into your neck. Yeah. But I think it's a bit of both in the end. I think he's ended up ODing as well as then the police brutality, but having his death on that same sort of level is just unbelievable in my opinion. It does not make sense.
People are trying to compare this to that. I just had to do my deeper research.
Yeah.
To show that Charlie Kirk was a Christian, had no bad rap, no bad reports, had nothing.
2 young children, a wife.
Children who were sitting in front of him and he died.
Do you want to hear a really, really, really sad part? 2 parts. Apparently, there was footage out of the 3-year-old daughter hearing the loud bang and then trying to run to Charlie because she got scared of the sound.
Yeah.
Brutal.
Yeah, it's not good. And
so
you see comments of people saying about the children in, Palestine, wherever what's happening there. They're trying to compare this. This is not genocide. This is a assassination.
They were of the same people that were also trying to be like, let's end this war in Palestine as well. Like, you're not trying to, again, put one above the other. It's not like, oh, who cares about Charlie Kirk and his daughters and that when all of this is going on. It's like, no, they're both as fucked up as each other at the moment.
Yeah. What were your thoughts
unbelievable.
On bloody the mayor of Utah when he was like,
we have the death penalty?
No, what was it? He said, sadly, it was one of us. It's like a...
Like as in, he's sad, he was hoping it was a black person.
He was hoping it wasn't. It sounded like he was hoping it wasn't an American, but then he narrows it down that it was someone from Utah. And it was a bit like he was kind of telling the press he was hoping it wasn't.
Yeah, okay.
Them, which looked like he was just hoping it... I wouldn't say a black person, but he was hoping it was definitely a terrorist attack. That's
okay.
Took it out.
Well, yeah, I don't know. He's made some sort of strange lines over the past couple of days as well, with a lot of sort of almost hidden messaging and stuff, or like between the lines sort of stuff. So that is strange. I didn't know about that at all. So that sort of caught me off guard a little bit in relation to
Trying to get this light
into
off
that.
my head. Sorry, it's fucking gold.
Do you have to move back? You have to. It's Jesus shining down a light on you.
No, I'll just keep it like that. I'll just lean a bit forward. Yeah.
Did you see about what had happened with Erica? She did a live stream on X.
Oh yeah, I watched a bit of it. I didn't sit there and watched it all. But
Yeah,
I got
I tuned in at one
of it.
stage. She had 420,000 people watching, which I found unbelievable. But
Yeah.
I don't know how she held herself together for all of it. Apparently
I
she'd barely
see-
slept or anything.
I see all these people in the comments saying, "What does she mean by them and us?" Like, oh god, her husband just fucking assassinated
Yeah, and
on live TV. She doesn't have to say the perfect words.
then people then screenshotting some of her facial expressions and saying she looks evil. Pretty sure you'd be pretty angry if your significant other had just been assassinated in front of people for political motivations.
Yeah.
Or any motivation. If you just saw them get murdered in front of you like that, I'm pretty sure you'd be angry as well.
Well, it was just one of those things. As soon as something like this happens this big, it always goes conspiracy, the government. Because when it first happened, there was so many people saying, you know what's going to happen? They won't catch the killer, this, that. At first, when they were arresting that old man that his pants were pulled down, I was like, that's not the guy.
Yeah, until I heard that he jumped off the roof after, I was like, maybe he forgot to tighten his belt, maybe. But that guy is not athletically jumping off the roof after that and running away. Hell no.
Nah.
I think that was just originally, I don't know, I saw all these posts that have come out recently and been stating that it was like that there was a Discord with a heap of transgender people had been posting something big was going to happen at this event. I think there was a bit of a coup to do it. So I think it was just really, I don't think there's too much more to look into it. That unfortunately some people on the extreme of the other side just hated him that much that they just wanted him gone.
Yeah.
Which is unbelievable.
But I see there's a lot of people that are going to keep going out and doing these talks to make sure this type of...
I wonder
debating.
wonder why with all the death threats he never thought about the glass panels.
Yeah, because that's another thing I had written down. Like, apparently, obviously, you said he had the vest on. They said there's a good chance you might get shot, and he still went on with it. Another thing for me was, did they sweep the venue? Like, surely you would have sent people around. Like, in this day and age, if there's things happening like that, wouldn't you get dudes just to stand on top of the building?
Well, the problem that I have with it all is it was such a clear sight. Like, if you actually see the layout of where he was in, like, the sort of open auditorium section, the building's, like, 150 metres, but dead in front. Like,
Yeah.
if he happened to be looking up and caught the glint, it would be straight at him, like, wide open view. And like you were going into watching those videos of the snipers saying, yeah, he would have, from that distance, he would have just seen what was in his back teeth. Like, that's how wide open the view was. So, I don't know, a little bit strange, I think, how it sort of still all unfolded with how open and accessible he was, I suppose.
Yeah.
Very bizarre. I'm sure more information will come out soon.
Yeah, it will be a never-ending topic, I reckon, for the next 12 months. But he got the highest medal. What is it?
Yeah, I did see that.
Civilian can get.
Yeah,
Which I think's probably well deserved.
probably justified.
Didn't go to college. But I think we should move into our last topic, you reckon?
Well, it kind of ties in again with some of
Yeah,
his opinions.
Which was the Evergreen High School shooting, which honestly, I'll say now was probably a good turnout. Looking into it more, I'll quickly give you the rundown. So a 16-year-old high school student pulled out a gun at 12:24 p.m. where he fired multiple shots at three students. One of them being in a non-life-threatening condition. So he was good. He's been released. The other one was in a critical condition, still in hospital, and the third one is still in an unknown condition. So they've stayed private. So at this point, there is no deaths. But the shooter then turned a gun on himself and killed himself. As much
See,
as this,
no, you go.
I was just saying, as much as this is horrible, what has happened, I think this is probably one of the best turnouts for one of these shootings.
Yeah, no deaths to the innocent.
Yeah,
is fantastic at this point. So hopefully that remains the same. Now I knew that there was a recent school shooting. I knew none of the facts or anything that had happened. So this is more you. I've got a really. I don't know what my stance is on the whole guns in America thing, because I completely get what everyone's obviously saying with the amount of school shootings is ridiculous. The amount of public shootings is ridiculous. The amount of mass shootings America have every year compared to every other country is unbelievable. But the unfortunate thing is, I believe that there are so many guns in America now. If they even put a gun ban on, there will just forever be people with a lot of guns, even if they do sweeps, even if they do mass, I don't know, like Australia did almost, where people were turning in their guns and everything like that. Like, I just don't think that any of this would stop because there are so many guns in circulation in America.
Well, that's what I read down. Like, if you tried to get guns off everyone at this point, it would probably start a civil war.
Yeah, it would.
More people probably die because they'll be protecting their property and their guns, where you'll probably get outnumbered. There'll be more people wanting to keep their guns than cops trying to take them.
Yeah, exactly right. And I think that's the issue.
It would almost be a military job, but then it'd be a waste of your resources and a loss of lives that shouldn't be lost. And then they would have just been like, look at the First Amendment, we get to keep our guns. And
look, Charlie Kirk sort of spoke about his thoughts on the gun laws and that, and people have obviously circulated that clip of him talking about, like, unfortunately, because of this right, people are going to innocently die, which happened to himself. But at the end of the day, he was mainly talking about the right to defend yourself or your friends or family. And, like, my other part is castle law. Like, I think I've seen people in Australia get convicted of manslaughter or assault when people break into their home and then they either hit the person that's sort of tried to rob them, or they bash them or something. Why are you getting charged with assault when that person has trespassed and put you and your family at risk?
Well, there was a story in Mackay that a person ordered pepper spray online to protect himself.
Yep.
And a lad broke into his house and he pepper sprayed him, and now he's got charges for pepper spraying. It's like,
I don't think that that's right. So I think that with all the guns that are circulating, people do have a right to defend their homes and family and friends. And I think that's what he was mainly speaking about when he talks about that people will die.
Yeah.
But it's for those reasons, not getting assassinated because you have a different opinion from someone.
But that's... Yeah, I think it's got to a point for America. It's easy for us to say, stop the guns, when our last incident was, 96, 97?
Yeah.
But the thing is, there's obviously been more guns produced. There's new types of guns. One of the main things with the school shootings is, how are so many kids getting their hands on them? Obviously, yes, their parents, but it seems like you can buy a gun before you can drink alcohol there, which makes...
Yeah, the problem is they can go into their versions of Target and stuff, and as long as you've got a license, you can just buy a gun. But their licenses are like half an hour psych checks. Like, anyone can pass them.
they need flagging. They need to start putting in like a flagging system, like background checks. If you have a mental health problem, let's say you've gone to a therapist, that comes up on a record, man, nah, you're not giving him shit.
Yep.
It's because it got to a point that's become ridiculous, because this year itself there's been 47 school shootings already, and there's been 24 in college campuses and 23 have been in schools which are kindergarten to grade 12, and 19 people have died this year, with 77 getting injured. But also, you add on that, you got hundreds and thousands that are left traumatized and needing help to get over the fucking thing.
So, with what would then be a good case study as well is how many of these people fall into the mental health basket. And I just feel like there's not enough going on in the world currently to help these people. I think we're failing a lot of people with mental health, and I think it's increasing so much because of, I suppose, with how much more we're exposed to stuff online, it can radicalise people a bit quicker. It can affect people a lot more, and people can get depressed or down or angry with all the stuff that they see online. I just don't think there's enough support for those people that are struggling with mental health. Because I don't think a normal sane person is ever going into a school or ever going into a public place and then shooting a bunch of people.
But we can't actually speak for the American side, because you look at our country, it's breaking down a lot of walls of, you need to speak up in sport, politics, TV. Like, this country's got to the point where they're sick of it.
Because of how much we're talking about it.
Yeah, but is America doing the same? Like,
well, the problem is there's none of that, but they're probably shunning it more. Like, I just don't think there's any support over there.
Because I stuck it down to 4 categories that could make these kids or young adults do this. It's bullying, the mental health side of it, which you might as well mix into that, the culture and social media.
Yep.
All those 4 things mixed together, or just one of them, can cause it. Like what we spoke about, the argument with transgenders, how some people argue that it's a mental illness. Well, some say it's not, but then why are they the top shooting?
Look, and there's unfortunately a lot that also commit suicide.
Yeah.
And yes, some of that would obviously tee into families not accepting and not supporting. But you can't tell me that the amount of drugs that they then get prescribed from doctors are not having a negative effect on their brains and health. And like, at the end of the day,
have to.
Yeah, I just think having that amount of drugs that enters your system that try and changes the whole complex of your body, and then all your hormones and everything fighting against that, and it's got to be a dangerous concoction. There's too many that kill themselves or lead to these acts of violence that it can't just continually be a coincidence.
But I was looking at the numbers. I think these are roughly correct. From the school years of 2000 to 2022 in the public-private system of kindergarten and grade 12, in school shootings there's been 1,375. There's been 515 deaths and 1,161 injuries.
That is unfathomable.
And that's the start of 2000. I did look back at the 90s. It's a bit choppy there because obviously there's not much internet and reports.
Yep.
But it's below it. It's around 835 incidents, I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
But I think another thing is the Columbine shooting, the one in the 90s, which was
that 90s or early ooze?
No, I think it was the 90s. It was probably the kickstart of it. I think there was already some that kind of happened before, but I think it was the most famous one to where...
1999.
It almost became cool to like them.
Mm.
listening to the podcast and stories, how once that becomes so famous, and more kids started doing it, like wanting like to be
That
them.
level of attention.
Because it's almost like to the 70s, the 80s, even early 90s, there was the satanic panic, which is a whole nother can of worms. But it was like the outcast kids, the punks, which those kids were,
Yeah.
which they were like, nah, they were dark, evil, into all this type of stuff, and they shut up the school. But it's almost like how, this is a bit off topic, when someone commits suicide, they always say, make sure the people around them don't do the same, like a domino effect.
Mm.
People watching the shooting's gonna almost get jealous from the attention.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because when someone commits suicide, some people get a bit jealous of the attention they get, so then they kill themselves. So a nerdy little person, well, this could be just one person's mind, sees, oh, this bloke shot up a school, look at the attention he gets around it. Everyone's talking about it, he's on the news. He does it. And then he either kills himself like those lads did, or when they get arrested, because they're so driven in that, they're almost confused and speechless when they get arrested, because they're still kids and they don't know what the hell they've done.
Yep. Yep.
So then that's that mental side of it.
Oh yeah. And then there's definitely, I think they did come out and say that there was a Columbine effect, and there's been like over 70 copycat sort of where they would film themselves and they'd write this massive letter and they'd sort of document their lead up to it before committing their crime and then taking their life. So yeah, I think it does get to that point where they almost, it's like it became a sport for a little while, where they were trying to outdo each other, all these sick individuals pretty much going, look at all the attention they got, I never get that attention. They're getting bullied, they're getting shunned, they're in the corner, and then it leads them to wanting to shoot up the school.
Yeah.
Crazy. Unbelievable.
But yeah, I've written down things like, well, there's already schools, because I said the schools need screenings and searchings, which most of them really already do.
Yep.
But it's
well, they do
almost-
now. A lot of
Yeah.
the schools have more security and everything now, don't they?
Yeah, writing things like, with the gun violence in America, is it time for them to change the laws? But like we said before, I think it's too late.
I think there's too much in circulation.
It's, to me, it's not they can't tell them they can't have their guns. They need a better program, and it's harder to buy. You can't just
Yeah.
buy one because you're 18. You need a valid reason.
Rigorous testing, constant checkups. They're going to say it's
Yeah.
too much work, but like, how that would create jobs. Having people do the checkups and do
It
the
creates jobs, and they say it's too much work. But what's more important, human life or owning a gun?
yeah.
Because
Like,
a thing I didn't write down on here. So yes, most of these school shootings, yeah, some kids, it's their gun which they got for their birthday, such and such. But most of the time, it's they've taken it off their parents.
yeah. So I don't know. Now this could be a very dangerous job, and probably I'd have to think about this more. Is there a way that these people, they have the list of who has the guns and how many guns, and they go and see how they're locked up? I don't know how you can regulate that. That seems, I don't know, maybe it's too dangerous to do a job like that, but obviously people are getting far too easy access to their parents' guns or a friend's gun. How many times have there been incidences of like young children like playing with their parents' guns and they kill themselves or kill their friend? Like,
even I was thinking like, oh, I just went blank. Well, firstly, yeah, a parent shouldn't tell their kid where their gun is. I know some say, oh, what happens if someone's intruding my house? No, the kid should know where the gun is.
Yep.
He should know the password. And I think it's got to a point, let's say if I'm in America and my son shoots up the school with my gun, I go to prison too.
Yep.
That's if you're the owner, the license of it. If you're going because you didn't look after it properly.
Because you can go to prison as a gun store owner for illegally supplying to a minor. I don't know. Could they find a way to bring it into the same charge? You've supplied a minor with a weapon.
Yeah.
And didn't have it properly locked up.
If your kid is able to get your gun, there's a massive problem. That's because your lack of responsibility is the reason someone's kid's not coming home. So
Yeah.
I think that's a law that needs to be in place. Even if the parent says, "No, it's not my fault. It's your gun, dickhead."
Yep.
It needs to. It's gotten to a point where, for us as Australians, we see it, we kind of just go, "Jesus Christ," and that's it for us because it doesn't affect us.
Because my other thing as well is like, now obviously at certain situations, even in Australia, you're still going to separate yourself from them because you don't want to be in a potential situation where you could get stabbed or beaten or harmed or anything like that.
Yeah.
But could you just imagine walking around and like literally you could be walking behind someone and they just might have a gun?
Yeah.
And you just got no
that's
idea.
The same thing about the whole campus thing about Charlie Kirk. It's illegal for a student to have a gun on them in that state or that campus. So
In that campus, so how did they even get in the first place?
So one could just be walking around with a gun
At
because
any
they're
time?
allowed to in that state.
Yeah. Yeah, so, yeah, all the different laws with concealed carry and what's legal and what's not legal, I just think they're at a point where it doesn't even matter because, like we said, there's so many in regulation now. In circulation, I should say. So, yeah, lost for words, which sort of what has happened over the past 3 weeks. I think
Yeah, we had
it's
some
going to end up leading to a lot of political. There could be a civil war. There could be a full civil war.
Well, that's most people are commenting that's what America's leading to. But
Did you see what had happened with the UK as well?
what?
So with everything that's going on in their country and they're trying to get their country back and fight for their country, then with what also happened with Charlie Kirk, they sort of double dipped and did a massive march through London. Suspected like hundreds of thousands of people attended this rally. Mainly sort of the white UK people and a lot of men as well, which has been sort of different from a lot of previous protests. So yeah, very, very interesting time in the world, I believe.
Well, that's. I didn't write this topic because I didn't want us to drag on for too long, but we'll probably maybe in the future not worry about it. Is the whole we had the marches 3 weeks ago.
Yep.
And then out of nowhere, it was just a protest, not to stop immigration, but to stop mass immigration. That was the whole point of it.
Yep.
We had these neo-Nazis come and just ruin it for everyone.
Yeah, well, and that's a completely another topic as well, isn't
Another
it? Because
can of worms.
I think that you should be entitled to lean left and you should be entitled to lean right, but it's the extremists on both sides that are the ones that are just sort of creating even more divide and creating more problems, essentially.
That political violence, which no one ever wants. But, yeah, that's the 3 topics, eh?
I think that'll do us. We covered off a lot, so hopefully people find it an interesting topic and, I don't know, hopefully people can leave some comments.
I reckon we'll probably get more listeners on this one because it's just not 3 sports that people don't usually give a shit about. Just a quick update, Oklahoma City Thunder actually won the playoffs because we never got to a end of that, but...
No, I just realised we did game 1 and that was literally it. So that's kind of crazy.
It's going good. If we have time, we'll get into the AFL, which has got 4 teams left, and the NRL that's got 6.
Yeah, we absolutely should try and bang out another pod sometimes this week.
We both thought that the past week has been a full on with some big stories, then why don't hear it first from us two?
Yeah,
Voice
just
of-
just our opinion and what our thoughts were on it, pretty much. So
But yeah,
something different.
It is a Sunday night, and we're due for a sleep.
We are. I'll let you go to bed,
Thank you, sir.
and we'll speak through the week.
Easy. Till next time, people. Stay
See
safe.
you later.